Hello, welcome to Ephemera Files by Tommy, and this video was made over the course of an entire week plus a day or two, and it is all about experimenting with dyeing with flowers from my garden, specifically hibiscus flowers. I got some very nice results. I got some very strange results. I got one totally unexpected result, but I think you're gonna like it. Let's get into the video. What in the world is that mess? Well, and I'll tell you what it was and show you some pictures of it, and then I'll tell you what it is going to be. So this particular one is from a hardy hibiscus plant that's in my backyard. I don't normally have red plants, and somehow I got a red hibiscus, and it's very pretty when it blooms. I'll show you. I have two starry nights, and they look like this when they are blooming. And then I have another one that is full on pink that has no blooms on it right now, and I cannot recall the name of that particular hibiscus yet. And then I have this one, and I don't know what it is. Like I said, I don't recall ordering a red one, so I'm thinking it may have been a mistake. But I have it, and it's growing, and it's fine. And it looks like this right now. It is late September. It's getting a little bit cooler at night, and some plants really thrive with that. This particular hibiscus decided it wanted to drop everything. And so I went, and as I was cleaning up deadheading, these are fairly fresh. They were probably blooming yesterday. They're still very pliable and soft. But I also picked up all of them that were on the ground and stuck to other branches. There's another one that was probably the day before yesterday. And I was getting ready to put them in the compost bag, and I had a thought. That is a pretty color. It would be really pretty on paper. It's kind of a purpley color now instead of the bright red that it was. So I am going to try making some dye out of this, and I thought I'd just share with you what I did. I will probably maybe take the darkest ones out, the ones that look yucky, that don't have much color at all. And I may not. I don't know. We'll find out if they need to be really fresh flowers like this, or if I can use dried ones like this, or if nothing happens at all. So here we go. I really hope it stays this color. This has not even come to a boil yet. It has actually only been in the water for about 3 or 4 minutes, and I just have it on low on the stove. Here's hoping. That got a lot darker than I thought it would. And it doesn't smell near as pretty as a hibiscus flower does. Let's see what it does to the paper. I may have cooked it too long, but it's my first time, so I'll get it figured out. If I don't like it, it's only paper. I can cover it up. We'll see. This is not a bad color. It's not what I expected, and I think maybe it might be different if I did a cold dye or only maybe just like 2 minutes of heat in the pot, because I let this get really hot and then I let it sit for a little while to cool down. And I think maybe if I left it hot, I might get that brighter or deeper pinkish purple instead of this. Although this is a lovely color. I like the greens and the blues and the purpley grays that are showing up in it. I can try it again with another batch of fresh leaves, or they aren't leaves, they're petals, they're flowers, and see what happens with that one. But for now, I kind of like this. It's not dry yet. We'll see what happens. So I thought I would try another experiment with these hibiscus flowers. These are actually the Starry Starry Night and not the red ones that I used to make the dye batch. And over here, I made some tomatillo and cilantro paper. I was making salsa verde, and I had made tomatillo paper before, and it came out a very pale green that I really liked. And I had the cilantro stems, and I thought, I wonder what this will do. And so it's coming out to be a really nice green color that's kind of different than the cilantro paper, but I want to try and experiment with those hibiscus flowers over there. So I'm going to layer these papers in this bin, and I'm going to layer the flowers in between some of them, and let's just see what happens. For this batch, I'm just going to use the pink ones, the Starry Starry Night hibiscus, and I'm just going to put them in some cold water. And these are all fairly fresh. They have dropped off the plant yesterday or today, or these three were getting ready to fall off. I knew they would be on the ground tomorrow, so I just went ahead and plucked them off. And I'm not going to cook them. I am going to put them on the stove just because that's where my pot filler is, and I know it'll be out of the way. So let's see what happens with this one. Oh, there's a nice little bug. I probably should have shaken them off before I brought them in. I'll take that one out. Well, I'll take him outside. Or I'll let him loose in the house, which is what I just did. He wasn't a stingy bug or a stinky bug, so I think that it'll be okay. I am just going to let these be in cold water because I remember when I was doing the dark ones, the dark burgundy maroon ones, that the water started to color even before I turned on any heat. That's what gave me the idea to just use the cold water on these pink ones and see what happens. So let's see what happens. And people wonder why I have a stove, actually a double oven, in my studio, and this is why. I am currently drying some of these papers that I am trying to dye. Works pretty well. Got 6 in there right now. And here are the results of my experiments with the hibiscus plants. The first batch was the dark red flowers, and some of them were dried and some of them were a little fresher, and I thought that I would get a burgundy or a dark pink maybe, and I got this instead, and I don't hate it. It's more of a caramel color. It's different from coffee or or tea dyeing. It's just got that hint of the red in with it. And if I didn't have so many dried flowers in it, I think that I may have even gotten more of the red hint. But I really like this. I like this color. It's kind of a creamy caramel. I got some strange effects. I am not sure what happened with that. It may be with the way that I dried it. I don't know, but I like that. And that is the dark red dried hibiscus flowers. Then I did a batch with tomatillo papers and a little bit of cilantro stems in it. And I tried putting some of the pink, let's see, it's the Starry Starry Night flowers, layering them in between, thinking I would get a pink impression or just a little hint of pink. Really didn't get much pink at all. And I don't know what happened with these two, but somehow I got some stripes on them. I must have laid them on something. I don't know. I'm going to have to go back and look at that portion of the video and see if I can figure out if that was there before I ironed it or if it happened between the two. But the chamomile, not chamomile, the tomatillo just kind of gives it an aged paper look. It doesn't give it a vintage color or a brown or anything like that. But I like the way it feels. I like the way dyed paper feels. It doesn't feel like regular paper. And these I dried in my oven here in the studio. This one, let's see, I'm trying to see if the hibiscus flower showed up at all, and I can't see it except for right there. So it may not have been on that paper. Some of them, the edges of the hibiscus petals showed up really well. The doilies did really not much of anything, except for maybe just a little bit of embossing of the shape. And I don't even know if that shows up. Does that? Yeah, it shows up. But just a very slight little bit. And it did the same thing here. You can, right there's a little bit of it. And okay, this was one that had the flower directly on it. And I ripped the paper. Of course I did. And you can see some veining. I can't get my light to work for some reason. I don't know if that's showing up. You can see some of the veining of the flowers right there. I think that was really pretty. I'm not going to show you every single one of these pages, but this is another one. I think that this was, I don't think the flower was directly on this one, but it's got some of the green. And I couldn't figure out where the green came from. This one has dots because of what I used to dry it. The pans. A lot of these I used my different texture pans. This one has a diamond shape on it. But I just like this one is another one that had the flower directly on it. If I keep it down here, does that help? I don't know. I don't know. I hope you can see that. If not, I'll try to take a picture and put a still in. But I do like the way it turned out because I like the crinkly feel of even just wet paper. If you just get paper wet and then dry it, especially if you dry it in an oven or use your iron, Like I have an iron here in my studio that mostly irons paper. It just gives it a different feel from regular copy paper. And then the last batch that I did was the Starry Starry Night. Those are the pink ones with the stripes in them. And I went ahead and I simmered them for about 5 minutes in a pot. I started out with just trying to cold water, and that didn't do anything, so I just put them on low for about 5 minutes until the water got hot. And I've never gotten this color before on anything I have dyed, and I really, really, really like it. And it's not pink at all. It is this yellow, and I was surprised by that. Yellow was, I think, the last thing I expected from pink flowers. But look at that. I think that is just a gorgeous color. And I didn't really do anything to this. I didn't dry it in the oven. I did iron them. And I have some reaction with my pan sometimes with some of the things that I dye, which I think looks pretty cool. I know that my friend Sandy would love that grungy look. And then some of the papers, I apparently didn't get all the way into the dye because there's some white places. And of course, just as always, some are going to be lighter, some are going to be darker. These, I think, almost look, especially this one, looks kind of like an ombre because it's a little darker here and then a little lighter here, and then it's pretty much white right there, which I think looks really cool. Yeah, I just did not expect yellow out of the pink flowers. Oh, these were on the bottom of the pan that I was soaking them in. And I don't know what it is about that pan. I think it just reacts with everything. And so I always end up with a few just really, really cool, grungy, different looking papers. And I don't hate it. I love that. That color is gorgeous. So the moral of this story, I guess, is play with your stuff. Go out in your yard, pick some weeds, pick some flowers, pick some leaves, and see what happens if you just put them in a pot of water, simmer them for just a little bit, and then dunk your paper. You might be surprised. And if you get a really good result, or if you get a really bad result, would you share it in the comments below? Because I am always up for trying out a new thing. Thank you for joining me today. And as always, be kind. Bye.